April 1st, 1965. Yamamoto Hiroshi walks through the doors of Sony headquarters, Tokyo. He's 19 years old, fresh out of university, nervous. A man in a suit hands him a badge, employee number 4729. And then, the man says something Yamamoto will never forget. "Welcome to Sony. You're family now. We'll take care of you for life." For life. Not just a job, not just a paycheck, a promise, a contract, a destiny. Yamamoto believed him. And for 40 years, Sony kept that promise. But then, everything changed. One by one, his colleagues disappeared, fired, let go, restructured. Lifetime employees thrown away like yesterday's newspapers. By 2005, when Yamamoto retired, he was the only one left. 400 people joined Sony in 1965. By 2005, only him. Everyone else? Gone. He's the last forever employee, the last of his kind. This is his story, and it's the story of how Japan lost something it can never get back. This is Japan Time Capsule. Let's go back to 1965. Post-war Japan. The economy exploding. Companies expanding. The future? Bright. Yamamoto Hiroshi graduated from Tokyo University, top of his class, engineering degree. Sony wanted him, and Sony was the dream. Not just a company, a movement. Akiya Morita, Masaru Ibuka, the founders, visionaries. They promised, join us young, work hard, we'll take care of you forever. Lifetime employment, Shushin Koyo, the Japanese way. No layoffs, no firings, you're in until you retire. Yamamoto signed, April 1st, 1965. Starting salary? 25,000 yen per month, about $70. But it wasn't about the money, it was about the promise. "I knew," Yamamoto says, "that I would work at Sony until I was 60. I knew where I'd be in 10 years, 20 years, 40 years. That certainty, that security, it was everything." In 1968, Sony paid for his wedding, the entire ceremony. Tradition. In 1970, they gave him a housing loan, low interest, 40-year term. He bought a small house, Setagaya Ward, Tokyo suburbs. His wife, 2 kids, stable income, the Japanese dream. And it was real. "I never worried," he says, "about money, about my future, about my family. Sony had me, and I had Sony. We were bonded." This was the contract, unspoken, unbreakable. Or so he thought. The 1970s, Sony explodes. Trinitron televisions, Betamax, cassette players. Yamamoto's in the engineering division, working on audio technology. Then, 1979, the Walkman, a portable cassette player. You can listen to music while walking. Revolutionary, world-changing, iconic. And Yamamoto, he was there, part of the team. Not the inventor, but there. When the Walkman launched, he says, I felt pride. Not just in Sony, in myself, in Japan. We weren't copying the West anymore. We were leading. The 1980s, peak Japan, peak Sony. CD players, camcorders, the Discman, Handycam. Sony printing money. And Yamamoto promoted again and again. Not because he asked, because that's how it worked. Work hard, stay loyal, get promoted. Automatic. By 1985, he's a senior engineer. Good salary, 120,000 yen per month. Bonuses twice a year, summer and winter, guaranteed. Company trips, hot springs, team building, karaoke nights. We weren't just co-workers, Yamamoto remembers. We were brothers. Tanaka-san started the same day as me, 1965. We sat next to each other for 20 years. I knew his kids' names, he knew mine. We belonged. 400 people joined in 1965, most of them still there in 1985. 20 years, together, family. This was lifetime employment. This was the system, and it worked. Until it didn't. December 1989. The Nikkei stock market peaks. 38,915 points, the highest in history. Everyone in Japan feels invincible. Real estate prices through the roof, salaries rising, bonuses huge. Sony's doing great, Yamamoto's doing great. Life is perfect. And then, January 1990, the bubble pops. Stock market crashes, down 40% in 1 year. Real estate collapses, down 60%, then 80%. Companies panicking. And Sony starts to change. At first, small things. The summer bonus in 1991, Yamamoto says, was smaller. Not by much, but smaller. That had never happened before. Ever. Then, the meetings started. Management, serious faces, restructuring, efficiency, adaptation. Words Yamamoto had never heard at Sony. And then, 1993, the first layoffs. I remember the day, Yamamoto says, his voice quiet. October 15th, 1993. Tanaka-san, my friend, 28 years at Sony. They called him into a room, gave him a folder. Early retirement package, they said. He was 51. Early retirement? He had 9 years left. 9 years until his pension fully vested. But they didn't care. Tanaka-san left that day. Didn't say goodbye. Couldn't. The shame? Too much. He called me that night, Yamamoto remembers, crying. What do I do, he asked. Sony was supposed to be forever. I didn't have an answer. 3 weeks later, Tanaka-san didn't come home from a business meeting. They found him in a hotel room, hanged. The shame, the dishonor, the betrayal. It killed him. That's when I knew, Yamamoto says. The promise was broken. Forever didn't mean forever anymore. Between 1993 and 2000, 70% of Yamamoto's 1965 cohort gone. Fired, early retired, forced out. The 400 people who joined that day, down to 60. And Yamamoto, still there. Not because he was the best, not because he was essential, because he was convenient. The right age, the right role, the right moment. Luck. I felt guilt, he says, every single day. Why me? Why not them? I watched my friends, people I'd worked with for 30 years, escorted out by security. And I stayed. Survivor's guilt. It haunted him. By the late 1990s, Sony was a different company. New hires, no lifetime contracts, just 5-year terms, renewable, maybe. No housing loans, no wedding payments, no guarantees. The young employees, Yamamoto says, they looked at me like a museum piece. You've been here how long? 30 years? They couldn't imagine it. To them, changing jobs was normal. The office changed too. No more company trips, no more karaoke nights, no more bonding. Just work, targets, quarterly results, shareholder value. We used to be family, Yamamoto says. By 2000, we were employees. And the numbers? In 1989, Sony had 180,000 employees worldwide. By 2005, down to 150,000. 30,000 jobs, gone. Lifetime employment, dead. The Japanese model, abandoned. We became American, Yamamoto says bitterly. Efficiency over loyalty, profit over people. But he stayed. What else could he do?
He was 55 in 2001, too old to start over, too young to retire. Trapped. I wasn't free, he admits. The young people, they could leave, find new jobs. Me, I was stuck. But at least I was stuck with a paycheck. By 2003, only 12 people from the 1965 cohort remained. 12 out of 400. Yamamoto watched them leave, one by one. Retirement, health issues, forced out. Until 2005, March 31st, Yamamoto Hiroshi's last day at Sony. 40 years, 480 months. Employee number 4,729. He walked out alone, the last one.
Was lifetime employment perfect? Yamamoto asks rhetorically. No, of course not. You couldn't leave. You couldn't quit. You were trapped. If you hated your job, too bad, you're stuck. If your boss was terrible, doesn't matter, stay anyway. Freedom? We didn't have it. He pauses. But we had something else. Security. Every morning I woke up knowing exactly where I'd be. Today, tomorrow, in 20 years. My kids, they'd go to college. I knew that because my salary would rise. Guaranteed. My wife, she didn't have to work. I could support the family on one income. That's stability. That's certainty. You can't buy that. You can't fake that. He looks down. Today, young people in Japan, they're free. They can quit. They can job hop. They can chase dreams. But they're also anxious, afraid, uncertain. Will I have a job next year? Will I ever own a home? Can I start a family? They don't know. And that fear, it's killing them. He's quiet for a moment. So which is better, freedom or security? I don't know. But I know what we lost. We lost the feeling of being taken care of. We lost the idea that a company could be family. We lost trust. Another pause. And we're not getting it back.
Yamamoto Hiroshi is 78 now, retired for 19 years. He still lives in the same house Sony helped him buy, 1970, Setagaya. His wife passed in 2018. His kids, grown, living their own lives. He's alone, but not lonely. I'm the last one, he says, almost proudly. The last forever employee. When I die, the memory dies with me. No one will remember what it was like, that certainty, that promise. It'll just be history, a story, a time capsule. And he's right. Lifetime employment in Japan, effectively dead. Only 15% of Japanese companies still offer it. And even those, it's shaky. The young generation, they don't want it anyway. Why would they? Yamamoto asks. They saw what happened to us. Promises broken, loyalty unrewarded. They learned, don't trust companies, trust yourself. But he wonders what was lost in that lesson. We gave our lives to Sony, he says, 40 years. And Sony gave us stability, security, purpose. Was it worth it? For me, yes. But would I recommend it to my grandkids? No, because the deal doesn't exist anymore. Companies won't promise forever, so why should workers? He stands, walks to the window, looks out at Tokyo. I'm a ghost, he says, softly, from a different era. A time when jobs meant something, when companies cared, when forever actually meant forever. He turns back. That time is gone, and it's never coming back.
Yamamoto Hiroshi, employee number 4729, 40 years at Sony, 1965 to 2005, the last forever employee. He's not bitter, he's not angry, he's just sad. Sad that young people will never know that feeling, that security, that belonging. Sad that companies became just companies, not families. Sad that forever became a lie. But he's also grateful. I got to live it, he says. The dream, the promise,
The golden age. Most people today, they'll never experience that. And that's tragic. He's a time capsule, a living relic, the last of his kind. And when he's gone, the memory goes with him. So here's the question. Did we lose something valuable, or did we escape a trap? Was lifetime employment a beautiful prison or true security? Was the old way better or just different? I don't know, but I know this. Yamamoto Hiroshi gave his entire life to Sony, and Sony gave him a life worth living. Until they didn't. This is Japan Time Capsule, the story of what Japan was, what it lost, and what it'll never get back. What do you think? Freedom or security? Which would you choose? Drop it in the comments and subscribe if you want more forgotten stories like this. See you in the next one.